little bit different job here than our normal. We're doing a big stamp patio here, but they couldn't get the deck built in time for us, and they were on our schedule. They didn't want to back up their slot, so just staying on track. The deck guy agreed to come out and put all the posts in, and now we'll pour the patio, and then in a month or so he'll come back and build the deck. So that worked out good with us. Our blue line right here is top of concrete, so we're going to give him a little step down right here over to here. The top of patio will be this lower blue line, and it'll come out 2 feet and then step down, and we're going to do a broken stone face that'll just blend right into the yard. So that's how we're going to leave it today. We just had some extra stone in the truck, so we got that off. Now we can come back tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon with a full load of stone and form this up, frame this up. This will be our Thursday morning pour. A couple things to do before that. So there it is. Okay, we're back over here at our project we dug out yesterday. Getting our form set here. Let me just recap real quick. The bottom blue line is top of patio. We're going to put broken stone face step liner against this form. So we'll get this all pinned out with kickers. There'll be a lot of weight against that. Square up to the house. We have a set of deck steps coming down here. They just did a 3, 4, 5 diagonal off of this corner. What measurements did you use? 9, 12, 15? 9, 12, 15. Gives us a right angle. And as we're doing this, we're bringing stone in, because I think we're going to need another load of stone. So I want to get that on the ground so we can get somebody in the truck heading for some more before it gets too late in the day. So I'm going to jump on that form with those guys. Okay, since there's no deck up there yet, these posts are just, well, they're braced to each other, but they're just floating in midair up there. We went ahead and wrapped them at the bottom with our Epifoam joint. You see it's a compressible composite, real flexible. That'll hold the concrete away approximately a 1/2 inch, so that if this post needs to twist a little bit, it can do it without harming the concrete. So we did all the posts, and we'll still do tool cut connecting post to post. Jim, we're going to need that concrete. We might run short. Okay, pouring a patio nice and early. It's going to be a great day. Okay, the power buggies are bringing the concrete in, dumping. We're working to pick up the reinforcement, get it in the middle of the slab. Being extra careful not to bump those deck posts. They're in the ground about 3 feet, but still we don't want to hit them and knock them crooked, knock them over. This is not our normal. Usually we come in after the deck is built, but we're just trying to work with our schedule. We're needed in 15 different places, as well as working to the deck builder's schedule. He was willing to come in and put these up so we could keep pushing forward with this project. So it's nice to have companies that work together and accomplish things and just keep pushing forward. So we're just about done pouring truck number 1. I'll have a moment to talk here shortly. Okay, that is truck number 1, 5.5 yards. We're just over halfway. I have another 5.5 in truck number 2. He's already mixed up. They should be bringing it down shortly. We had them sent back to back, so they're both here 15 minutes apart. We'll get stamping on this one, and that'll give us a little bit of breathing time in between loads. We'll do a good mix, and we should be able to just keep right on stamping. Keep my fingers crossed. Okay, change camera angle, change cement trucks. On to truck number 2. Just trying to keep the camera out of the way. They usually get knocked over and then I don't wind up with any footage. So this is better than 2 minutes of looking up at the sky or down at the grass. So as you see, we're just continuing to pour, working the edges, floating against the stonework up at the house as well as around the posts. Bull floating, almost done. Now we're getting close to the end, so we'll take a minute, last buggy, maybe one more, and we'll go ahead and put our 2x4 in place and then just dump over. Get it pinned nice and straight, nice and secure, exactly where we want it. And then I can keep straight edging right off the edge. So we're just on standby with the last buggy full of concrete. A couple shovelfuls out of that, and we'll go find a place to clean up. Okay, there it is, all poured. I think it is, what time is it, 7 o'clock? 7 a.m. already poured. I love it. Nice and cool. Neighbors don't like it, but it's a gorgeous day. Everybody should be up, right? Stayed nice and straight. Good. You hate to see a bump in that or anything. Maybe just right down past that scab there's a little bump. Nothing major. We're definitely not going to mess with that. Okay, I'm going to grab a drink of water, do some cleanup. We'll get on finishing. Okay, Steve just finished up with our curb edger.
The wrist wrecker.
The wrist wrecker. All the way around the perimeter. The reason we use this so much is we have step liner right here. So we end our mortar joints right here at the seam. And this all becomes one big stone, broken stone face. All of our smaller stones end at that line. Okay, got a couple minutes. Okay, it really doesn't take long for the concrete to start setting up. We go down it, and on our stamp work we do steel trowel it, but we use a real flat held steel trowel. Right into stamping, starting at the border, keeping those nice and square with the house, square with our border. We don't want to see crooked stones in there. That just really takes away from the look. Some of our patterns are skinnier than the other ones, and it allows us to bend it up that post, or when we get next to the house, it'll allow it to flex and bend right up that house, and we can get an impression about an inch away from either the post or the stonework on the house. I don't know if I've ever talked about that. If I think about it in an upcoming video, I'll show you an up close of what I'm talking about. As well as on the border, you see Jim just laid a floppy, a skin we call them, right underneath our patterns, and that way it doesn't leave an impression on that border. So we have a couple different things going on. Jim's using the skins, and then Steven has a floppy right there in his hand that goes up the wall. See how that bends and goes up the wall? Now you can cut in a mortar joint for just about an inch and finish that. I hope I'm not talking too fast. I'm just trying to fit it all in there. A lot going on. It's like a controlled chaos just for a couple of minutes, especially out there on truck number 2, how that corner's in the sun. We're working as fast as we can to get to that corner because we know what's waiting for us. That concrete's going to be tighter than anything else, and unfortunately it's almost the last part that we have to stamp. So we're dealing with the sill in front of the door and working our way right across that area to complete this project. Now Tommy will go right into stripping those forms, pulling that bulkhead off, and dealing with our broken stone face. I really like this look, and you can see how the yard tapers off. That way we don't have to build that all up with fill to the very top. They can step down off of that patio to the grade, and that is becoming a really preferred look with a lot of our customers. They like the elevated pads and the step down feature into the backyard. Followed up with some low voltage lighting. It's a great look. And there it is, all stamped. Once it got going, it was no time to take a break. Just start stamping here. We made our way down to the sun area, up, and then down the wall. It went good, but you gotta stay on it. Looks real nice there. All of our tool cuts, you gotta make sure they come all the way to the end. It gives you that real nice look. I think we ought to throw one in here. This looks too long and skinny to me. We're gonna add a cut there. Cleaned up that base. Oh, it's all in the shade. I hope you can see it. There you go. Now our grade only has to come up to about here, and that'll work this backyard real nice. One step down onto the yard. I need a wheel. Let's put a little cut right in there. All right, let's go see that sill. That turned out real good. Our cuts go clean up to it. I'll come here tonight, throw a couple saw cuts in it, both ways, off of that corner to the post, center. I don't know if we need any more than that. So we'll get some footage on that. Okay, we poured this patio this morning, and it is well over 90 degrees here. So Steve came over about 3 o'clock and put a sprinkler on it. He was moving it around. This concrete over here is pretty warm, not hot, pretty warm. But where the water is, nice and cool. So that's what we want, just to cool down the temperature. We don't want to see hairline cracks off of this and surface cracking everywhere. So I just wanted to cool it down a little bit. This feels real good. So I'm going to go ahead and get some saw cutting in. It is about 5 o'clock, same day as the pour. So I'm going to put a saw cut center off of this corner to post, and post straight out, and then center straight out. And that ought to be pretty good for crack protection. So I'll go ahead and shut this water off. Man, does that feel good. And as soon as it dries up a little bit, I'll get it saw cut, and then I'll do a cleaning. So it didn't take long for that patio to dry up. I always use blue chalk whenever I'm chalking my lines, because it washes off easy, and if you use red or black, that's more of a permanent chalk, and you could run the risk of having to look at that for a long time, especially underneath the sealer. So not a whole lot to talk about here. Just using my soft cut saw. It goes down about 1 inch into the surface. Push it nice and slow. We got a lot of corners on this freshly stamped concrete, so just nice and slow. Hitting a bump, just letting the saw do its thing and cut through there. If you push it too hard, it definitely chips that concrete. So again, nice and slow. So not a whole lot of talking here. I'll just let this play out, keeping my lines as straight as I can. I work my pattern into the stamp pattern, trying to hide a lot of my saw cuts in the mortar joints, so it doesn't take away from the finished look. The whole process maybe took me about 45 minutes to saw cut this patio, and then I go right into the cleaning. As I'm cutting this concrete, you'll notice I keep moving the garden hose with me, just flooding the area with water. It really does help keep the chipping down since the concrete is so fresh. Remember, we poured this less than 12 hours ago, and I just didn't want to cut it and have a bunch of chips everywhere. So that's a nice way to avoid it. It keeps the dust down so I don't have to breathe it. And that's how I choose to do it on projects like this. So here we are, home stretch of this project. From beginning to end, you just want to do everything you can to give the customer a good, long-lasting patio. And right here is where you don't want to skimp. You don't want to hurry. Do a real good, thorough cleaning. A push broom scrub after you power wash all that debris off. Really clean those saw cuts out good. Any debris left behind, you'll see about 3 or 4 inches on each side of the saw cut. Underneath that sealer, it'll turn all white. You won't see it at first. You'll get paid, you'll go cash their check, and then you'll get a phone call in about 2 months. Hey, I got these white strips underneath my saw cuts. What do you think that is? And you'll know right away. It's sawdust from when I was saw cutting the patio. Didn't get cleaned properly, so really power wash that off good and scrub it. You gotta scrub it and wash again. Okay, there it is, all saw cut and cleaned, scrubbed and cleaned again. Tomorrow, antiquing and sealer, all done. Okay, I'm gonna head on top of the patio and start sealing. Caleb, you good on the camera?
Yep.
Get some good action shots?
Yeah, I just need it on the patio.
Okay.
Pop, can I get it on the concrete?
There was water in that caution tape.
Oopsie daisies.
Darn it. Did you get that on film?
Yep.
Son of a gun.
There's more water on the concrete.
Yep. Now we have to let that dry. Maybe it'll be dry time I get over there. Okay, don't walk where I sprayed, okay?
Okay.
You're only on here for a second, then you guys got to get off.
Yeah, as soon as we get through here, yeah, take it off. Move. Wait, we can move. We have to move a little closer so we can see everything on the film. I'll go back here. Yeah. Why do you have to seal it?
See how it brings the color right out?
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't that look nice?
Move. Oh, yeah. I see how.
And you want to protect the concrete.
Oh, yeah. No, I
neat,
do.
huh?
Cause what one looks better? That or this? I would say that. Because what it does is it protects the concrete. And it makes it a little more stamped.
Okay, that's going to finish this up. All done and sealed. 2 light coats. Now when they build the deck after construction, they'll clean it. We'll probably end up coming back and giving it a final coat. If needed. It could need it, maybe not, but I always throw that out there. That way they're not surprised if you get a highlighted spot. If it needs it, we'll run back and do it. I wanted to give a real quick close-up on our Epifoam joint. You can see how the concrete's away from the posts here. So that these can swell, these can twist a little bit, and it won't harm the concrete. Even if this was our hard expansion joint, our asphalt joint, that's still pretty tight. A little bit of room, but in the winter time, when that expansion joint's ice cold, it's really hard and it could still crack the concrete. So I'm going to start using this more and more. I really like that product. The top peels off and you can put caulking in there if you want to. Okay, that's a wrap here. As always, thanks for tuning in to Concrete with the Hosses. See you in the next one.